Hello, today we're measuring the perimeter of 2D two-dimensional shapes. Now I know some of you have already done tasks on this on DB Primary. Hopefully for those people this is just a bit of revision. Today, in order to do this, we need to understand and use centimetres to measure. We need to add simple numbers with accuracy, hopefully mentally, which means in your head. Understand what is meant by perimeter, and use a ruler with accuracy too. Now, the perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape. So here, the perimeter of the swimming pool would be the distance all the way around the edge of it. Here, the perimeter of the garden would be the distance all the way around the edge of it. And here, the perimeter of this burial plot would be all the way around the edge of it. Okay? This is an oblong, as you should remember, and I've already drawn on here my lengths, the lengths of all my sides. You bear in mind that obviously on your screen this will probably not be 8 centimeters. I've just chosen the numbers fairly arbitrarily in a way that works, so I've not actually measured these. Let's start with this side then. So imagine we're going to walk all the way around my shape along the perimeter of the shape. We have 5 centimeters here on this side. Then we're going to go and walk this 8 centimeter line here. There's a 5 centimeter there. And we can finish off with this 8 centimeter side. Now we should hopefully be able to calculate this in our head, because if we know that 5 add 5 is 10, because you should know your doubles to 20, and you know that 8 add 8 is 16, we can add these two numbers fairly simply together. Again, mentally, I'm not expecting anyone to have to write anything down for this, and we will get 26. And very important that you include the units of measure here. So we will say 26 centimeters because we are measuring in centimeters. If this said millimeters, we would write millimeters, but it doesn't, it's centimeters, so that's what we use. And here is the perimeter of our oblong. Simple enough. Here is a different oblong. And this one side is 4 centimeters. This side is 4 centimeters. And we've got 2 7 centimeter sides as well. And essentially all you're going to do is you're going to add all of those sides together, because that will tell you how long the distance around the shape is. Now I'm not going to calculate this for you. I would like you to have a go at it yourself. So have a pause. Pause the video when you're ready. Pause the video, get yourself a piece of paper and something to write with, and see if you can work that perimeter out. Welcome back. Now what we should have done is we should have said, I have 7 and another 7. Well, you could have said 7 and then 4. It doesn't really matter which order you add them in, to be honest. We have 2 4s as well. And I'm just ticking these off so that I know that I've done them and I've added all my sides, to make sure you don't make any silly mistakes. 7 add 7 is 14, as we know. 4 add 4 is 8. If we add 6 and 14, that would give us 20. Add the extra 2 and that would give us 22. So it would be 22, and again, centimeters, very important. Here's another one. This is a parallelogram, as you know. You will do exactly the same thing because you're still measuring the outside of the shape. So you would be adding the edges of the parallelogram together to find your total which will be your perimeter. So we do 2 add 7, add 2 add 7, or any combination of those, just as long as you make sure you add every side. Here's a triangle. Now this is a regular triangle, which means that all the sides are an equal length. So if you really wanted to, you could use your times tables to work that out, couldn't you? Because you've got 3 lots of 9, which is 3 times 9, which you should already know. This one's a bit bigger. Don't want you to worry about it. This principle is exactly the same. You're just adding together all of the sides, but I would advise you crossing them out as you go along, just so that you know which ones you've done. And again, we have a couple of regular shapes here that you could use your times tables for. So that's calculating the perimeter of a shape using addition. And there'll be a worksheet on DB Primary for you to complete using those. So we're going to look at using a ruler to measure. Obviously, I can't show you this in real life, so we're going to use a tool on DB Primary. Here is my test pupil page that I'm sure you remember from yesterday's video. So we're just going to go on to activities, maths. We're going to scroll down until we get to pupil tools. And here we are going to go for a ruler and we're going to measure some lengths. So here's my nice ruler. Now, centimetres are a unit of measure. Okay, 100 centimetres makes a metre, and each centimetre is divided up into 10 little sections, tenths of a centimetre, and we call those millimetres. We're going to practice measuring using a ruler. Right, now, I take, I'll start with a square. Here's my square. And I'm just going to make this a little bit wider, and I advise that you do the same. Because what you want is, you see how these lines are quite thick? There are some thicker lines and some thinner lines. You want your shapes to go for the thicker, to go from thick line to thick line, just because then it will give you a whole centimetre, so we're not having to work with the millimetres. So, just for now. So here we use our ruler, we click and drag, and you can see that we have to match up where it says centimetre here with the edge of the shape. And then on the other side, you can see how many centimetres this side of the shape is. So it's 4 centimetres. Now, if this is in fact a square, all the sides should be 4 centimetres, because a square is a regular rectangle. That means it's a shape that has all sides an equal length. So to tilt my ruler so I can measure the next side, we're going to click either one of these buttons, these little blue ones. There it goes. And we're going to move it down again so that where it says centimetre matches up with the shape. What you don't want is, you don't want to match the shape up with the edge of the ruler. This little bit between the centimetre and the edge exists in real life rulers, and that's only there because sometimes rulers get damaged and shortened over a period of time. So to keep the measurements accurate, they have a little bit of extra space here, just in case if bits of the ruler get chipped off, it doesn't affect the measuring. But you can see here, match the centimetre up, and it's 4 centimetres along here. Now I could do it upside down, I'm not going to, I'm going to tilt it back the way it was. There we go. 4 centimetres along here as well. And finally, 4 centimetres along there. So we can get rid of my square by pressing this little X button, and we can use a nice little triangle. And again, you see how the points of the triangle at the moment are on these faded lines here? We want them to be on the thicker lines just for now, because we don't want to be working with half measures. This one thankfully is already the right size, I don't need to rescale it. And here we can see that's 5 centimetres along there. Now, here, that doesn't quite fit, so what I'm going to have to do is see if I can rotate it freehand. There we go. To do that, I just clicked and dragged on the green dot there, because you've got to match your ruler up with the side of your shape. And that looks like that's 5 centimetres there to me. I think we're dealing with an equilateral triangle here. Yes. And let's just rotate it around the other way. There we go. It's a little bit fiddly, but you get the hang of it. And there's 5 centimetres there. So we know that this edge is 5 centimetres long, this edge is 5 centimetres long, and this is 5 centimetres long as well. So altogether, we have 3 lots of 5 centimetres, 5 add 5 add 5, and the perimeter of my triangle is 15 centimetres. So you can practice using your ruler. Don't worry too much on this section if you find that you've got centimetres and millimetres. Most of them, I think, so here we've got a 3 centimetre line, and this is a regular pentagon, so we should have 3 centimetres around the whole edge. But if you do find a shape that doesn't have an exact number of centimetres to its side, that one's 6, just the triangle, it's just the square that's wrong. Yeah, so you see the square is 3.6 centimetres because it's 3 centimetres and then 6 millimetres long. So I don't want you to worry too much about working out the perimeter with that for now. If you have a shape that's not quite exact, just grab a corner and pull like I did there and make it nice and uniform for yourself to measure and make it so it's a whole centimetre. But you can have a play around with that. That's the millimetre ruler, you don't want that one. Oh, and I can change it to a wooden ruler. Didn't realise I could do that, that's quite nice. I think I prefer the plastic. And you can take the grid off as well if you like. But these are all things that you can be doing. And I just really, with this tool, I would like you to practice measuring using rulers because you can work out the perimeter on the other document. So to come back to here, there is a worksheet for you to do with all of these on. So you can work out the perimeter of each, as we've already discussed. So to recap, we should now know that centimetres are a unit of measure. They are used to measure the length of something. There are 100 centimetres in a metre, and each centimetre is made up of 10 smaller millimetres. We should know that we can we should be able to add simple numbers with accuracy. Using doubles is a good way of doing that with shape. We need to know what is meant by perimeter, so that's the distance around the boundary or the edge of the shape, and we should be able to use a ruler with accuracy. If you have any issues, please do email your teacher. You can complete the worksheet for this on DB Primary. Thank you very much.